Hey guys, so this is my second video. I'm just going to get straight into it. This is about the hierarchy of nutrition. This is what it is. It's a pyramid scheme that has 5 steps, and it goes from top, which is the least important, down to the bottom that we have the most important. The hierarchy of nutrition is just based on nutrition. If you was to add in exercise, it would slightly change, but in regards to just nutrition, this is how it looks. I learned it from Eric Helms. In fact, Eric Helms he goes very deep into it on his YouTube channel. If you don't know about Eric Helms, I highly recommend you start listening to him. I learned quite a lot from this guy. Well, he does 6 different videos on the hierarchy of nutrition. He goes pretty deep into each factor and just the overall pyramid scheme itself. I'm just going to go into it just not so deeply, just go over it quickly, and just so I can hopefully get you guys to focus on what's going to be more important, and what things deserve most of your time if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good. Okay, so we're going to start with your calorie intake, which is the most important factor. Okay, so your calorie intake will be your calories for that given day. So you could either be eating at maintenance, which means you'll be eating enough calories to maintain your weight. You could be in a surplus, where you'll be eating more calories than your body needs, and therefore you will be gaining weight. Or you could be in a deficit and be under eating what your body needs, and therefore losing weight. A lot of people might be confused as to why calories is the most important factor, and that is why. If you want to lose weight, you have to be eating in a deficit, period. You definitely can overeat on healthy foods and still gain weight. So you have to be eating in a deficit in order for your body to lose body fat, and you have to be doing it over a period of time. So now we have macros. So macros is your carbs, fats, and your proteins. It also includes your fiber and alcohol, but the 3 main ones are carbs, fats, and proteins. The reason why macros come in second is due to protein. Protein has a higher thermal effect, which means it uses more calories to break it down. So anytime we eat food, we need to digest that food, and that takes energy to do that. So we have to put in a certain amount of calories to break that food down and to be able to digest it and use it. So protein has a higher thermal effect than any other macronutrient. So it has about 20 to 30%. It depends on the protein source, but it's about 20-30%. Carbs about 10 to 15. Fats about around 5%, sometimes a bit lower. So as an example, if I have 100 calories from protein, I'm going to be putting in 30 calories, depending on the protein. If it's whey protein, I'll be putting in 30 calories to break that protein down. So that's why it has a more unfair advantage. Also, people who consume higher amounts of protein, so let's say I take 2 women and they eat the same amount of calories, however one has 150 grams of protein a day and the other one has only 50 grams of protein a day. The person who has the higher protein intake, the 150 grams, will not only be able to lose more weight because of that higher thermal effect from the protein, they will also usually have better body composition. So they will be higher in muscle and lower in body fat. Therefore they'll also have, probably most of the time, a slightly higher metabolism as well because of their extra lean mass. Okay, so third we have micronutrients. So your macros are protein, fats, carbs mainly, and they're like the building blocks. Your micros, which are your vitamins and your minerals, they're like the nuts and bolts. So they are important. However, they're just not as important as your macros and as your calories. In the if you keep it all in context and all together, and the hierarchy of it all. So where a lot of the confusion comes from is people will think of the micronutrient part as the most important part. So they will say, well, you need to eat foods that are higher in nutrients, and these bad foods or junk food have no nutrients at all. Okay, first of all, they do have nutrients. That's why they're called macros and micros. They still have macronutrients and micronutrients. So they still have nutrients in. It's just that these have more vitamins, minerals, and fiber. So yes, these are better foods to consume. However, that doesn't make these foods necessarily bad for you. It just, at least in the hierarchy of it all, with these nutrient-dense foods, so these clean, healthy foods, with these foods is they are usually lower in calories and they have a higher level of satiety on the body. So if you take 300 calories from broccoli, that will fill you up. Okay, that's going to be quite a lot of broccoli. That's going to be quite a large volume of food you're going to end up eating. So that will fill you up. But again, that doesn't make these other foods bad. It's just you just have to understand that so these junk foods are obviously going to have for the amount of volume that you get for that food, you're going to have a higher level of calories, but you're also going to have a lower level of satiety. So yes, these clean, healthy foods are going to be better choices for you, but they're not like magic. It's just how they work is because they're lower in calories, slightly higher in fiber, and therefore higher levels of satiety. So you don't end up it's harder to overeat and eat on them. But you, again, like going back to the start, you can absolutely still overeat on them, especially things like fruit, because again, they're just slightly higher in calories. Vegetables not so much. But again, it's not about the food itself. It's just understanding that it's in the hierarchy of everything, that the calories is the most important aspect of that, and there's nothing bad about these junk foods per se. It's just that you just have to understand that they're not going to fill you up as much, and they're much easier to overindulge on. But if you was to control your have control of your calorie intake from tracking and again paying attention to your calories, then it's not going to make no difference really. Okay, so fourth we have meal frequency and meal timing. So a few years back, we used to believe that meal frequency was the holy grail of weight loss or just nutrition. We had this belief that because of some studies that came out, some correlation studies, that eating more frequent meals somehow spiked our metabolism and allowed us to lose weight. We now know that isn't true. It's important to remember that correlation doesn't equal causation, and that's why we used to believe that there was these correlation studies that show people who ate more frequently was majority of them was more underweight or at the right weight, and people who ate 2 to 3 meals was overweight. Now you can't just that doesn't prove that one is better than the other in regards to weight loss. It just because there's many other factors it's not taken into account. As an example, people who eat 6 times a day usually are probably watching what they eat. There's a reason why they researched eating 6 meals in a day. That they're probably looking to lose weight, so therefore they lost weight. And there's other factors as well to take into it. So yeah, correlation doesn't equal causation. Okay, so let me explain how the thermal effect of food works. So let's say one day you have one meal that has 2,000 calories in. The next day you have 6 meals that have 2,000 calories in. Regardless of how frequent the meals was, your TEF doesn't change, because on average TEF is about 20%. So that means 20% of 2,000 is 400, and it will be the same on both those days. It you know, just because you space it out, it doesn't somehow have an increased effect on TEF, or the thermal effect of food. There's been numerous studies done on this. One that's compared, got groups to eat one meal, another got groups to eat 12 meals. So imagine eating 12 meals in one day. You would think you'll be full, but they wasn't. They were starving because they had to eat such small amounts of food. So that's the reason why their TEF stayed the same. It was just based overall on the calories that you consume within that day. Okay, so with meal timing, a lot of people seem to again have this other misconception. There's a lot of misconceptions. Have this misconception that you can, if you eat carbs before you go to bed, somehow you're magically just gonna get fat. Again, think about the hierarchy of everything. Okay, if you are in a deficit, you are going to lose weight. So if you have less calories, then your body needs to maintain that weight. You, again, by definition, that is a deficit. You are losing weight. You cannot then gain it. Okay, so let's imagine I don't eat anything throughout the day, and I eat loads of carbs before I go to bed. Let's say 600 calories, but I only had 600 calories in that day. Am I going to lose weight? Of course I am. I only had 600 calories. I'm going to be starving. I'm going to lose a lot of weight that way. And I still ate before I went to bed. So that's why you have to think about the bigger picture and the hierarchy of everything. Calories in versus calories out is more important. Okay? The only time timing becomes important, and that's just to optimize. So with protein and the timing of protein, you can definitely that can make your muscle building or your hypertrophy definitely more optimal, because we know you can consume protein 4 times in a day, and that will be more optimal than consuming it twice. It will increase muscle protein synthesis throughout the day more frequently, so therefore it will be better for building muscle. But it's still not as important as your overall macro intake of that protein. So if your goal is to eat 150 grams of protein, but you eat four meals at only 20 grams, that's only 80 grams of protein. So that's not going to be optimal for you to build muscle. Your overall number is going to be more important, and that's why again macros comes before your meal timing. Last and yes least, we have supplementation. So supplementation definitely can have a small effect, but the effect of most supplements is very, very small, and that is why they are right at the top, because they can work. Like some fat burning pills do work. There are other good supplements out there as well, like creatine monohydrate, that definitely can aid us and help us to get better results. However, if you do not have your meal time and meal frequency, micro, macros and calories all sorted, then it's going to do nothing for you. As an example, if you put someone who's trying to lose weight and they don't even know what their calories are and they are overeating, that supplement will do absolutely nothing. If you can put them into a slight deficit and then have them on it and have everything else in the correct order, and spending your focus on mainly calories and macros, then it can have an effect, but it's going to be small. So that's why supplements go last. Okay guys, so this video is coming to an end. I wanted to go over this because it's something that's helped me. It's helped many other people as well, and it just gets you guys to really understand, and put your time and focus on the right things. So the lesson learned here is that, you know, your calories is, you know, all these things have a part to play, and they are all important, but remember that there are things that are going to be just more important than other things, and you know, calories is the most important aspect of that. Then it's your macros, then it's your micros, then it's your meal timing and frequency, because obviously the effect that they can have on your muscle building, and then you've got supplementation. So just so you guys can have a last look, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, just give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free to leave a comment or to drop me a message wherever it's on Facebook or Instagram. Gracias.